Would you believe there's a product out there that fits into the size of my palm, yet disrupted an entire industry while it made its way to a Fortune 500? Before I reveal what that is, let's have a look at this B-roll. By now, I hope you have guessed it, it's the AirPods. Could you believe this AirPods, this tiny piece of hardware, if removed from Apple and made into a separate business entity, would easily be a Fortune 500 company in itself? The news article I just showed dates back to 2019, when AirPods had a revenue of $8 billion. And I checked the latest report, man, they made a whopping $14 billion in revenue in 2023. That's a lot of money. Before I tell you how Apple pulled off this incredible feat, let me take you on a quick journey of how it all started. The world's first earphones were invented in 1926. The design seems to be very similar to the kind of earphones that we use today. In 1958, the first pair of stereo headphones were launched. Fast forward to 1979, entrepreneur Amar Bose invented the first pair of commercial noise-cancelling headphones that were used in flights. And that's how the famous company Bose was founded. In 1989, Sony created the first portable headphones, the OG Walkman. Again, moving ahead in time to the era of headphones, in 2001, Apple debuted their iPods that were equipped with wired earbuds. By now, the competition in the market has also started to pick up. In 2003, Skullcandy started making headphones that were fashionable. Eventually, Beats started following the trends and launched Beats by Dr. Dre in the year 2008. They continued to make bold fashion statements by collaborating with fashion brands like Fendi and public icons like LeBron James and Travis Scott. And now comes a surprise. In 2014, Apple acquired Beats for an insane $3 billion, which makes it Apple's most expensive acquisition till date. And finally, in 2016, Apple launched their first ever AirPods. With Apple acquiring Beats, Apple now had the tech they wanted to reinvent their earphones. From the old wired earphones that we used to get inside the Apple box to this gorgeous wireless earphones. So it's not like Apple was the first company to come up with an amazing product like AirPods back then. And don't get me wrong, there were companies like Braggy, Onkyo and Sennheiser who had products similar to AirPods even before AirPods were launched. So what did Apple do differently from the competition? To crack that, we have to first understand the concept brand perception. And to know that, we have to first look into what people have to say about Apple. And there's no better place than the birthplace of Apple, United States of America.
He's a 10, but he has an Android phone. What's his new rating?
A 3.
That's a 0.
That's horrible.
It's a 0. Our pictures for Instagram are gonna be terrible.
It's green text and I'm doing blue. I feel like it's a downgrade.
iPhone all the way. Why are you having an Android? Go get your money up. Get out of the house.
If you don't have an iPhone, you're a nerd.
And I'm not doing WhatsApp either.
Are you broke? Like, how can you not afford an Apple?
Like 0. Android. I can't do the Android. The green bubble, not good. It's like cheap. You're cheap.
Still give her a 10. I'm cribbing on that. I had an Android. A few years ago, so I used to get bullied all the time.
Really?
By my boys. Oh yeah. Got clowned.
What they say to you?
Be like, this is an Android. You know how it is.
Still a 10. Definitely still a 10. Because I think a phone's just a phone. So whatever phone he uses, it shouldn't really rate his skill, or I guess degrade him.
I used to be an Android user. I'm an iPhone user now. But honestly, the society now is so materialistic. Like, who the actual fuck cares? If he's a 10, he has an Android, he's a 10. Yeah. Period.
Jokes aside, the video is not an actual representation of the whole country. However, if you look into the closer picture, it is true that Apple has a monopoly in US, especially with their iPhones having a market share of over 60%. And this figure is even worse with younger population with over 90%. And how do Apple have such a high figure? To understand that, it always revolves around the word called ecosystem. Imagine Apple as a garden with huge walls. You would enter the garden with, let's say, the most popular iPhone. Once you enter the garden, you are invited to use lots of the other products. With time, you get used to your surroundings and also start liking the other sections of the garden like software and services. Apple has built this garden in such a way that their products have vertical integration. That means their product work and only works well with their own products. Let's have a look at this AirPods. The AirPods would connect seamlessly, have great security features only when you use them with iPhones or Macs. The moment you try using AirPods with an Android phone, you would know how much of a pain it would be just to connect and listen to music. The only problem with the garden setup is it creates an environment such that it becomes insanely hard for people to stop using Apple products and leave the garden. The moment you decide to leave the garden, let's say you're switching to an Android phone, every other Apple product that you purchased, Apple Watch, AirPods and Macs, stop working the way it used to with your iPhone. And US government has recently filed a lawsuit against Apple for monopolizing the smartphone industry, and they have mainly discussed this insane level of vertical integration that Apple has.
It's tough, not to make it personal, but I can't send my mom certain videos or she can't send me certain videos. And so we leave
Buy your mom an iPhone.
NANI? I mean, there's nothing wrong with what he said. As a company, they'd expect the best for themselves and they'd expect the products to work well only with their own devices so that people don't leave Apple. But is it ethical? Not ethical? How do we define those boundaries? It's a topic for another time. Now that we know how good Apple is when it comes to making people use their products and services, but how do they make people use their products again and again for a longer period of time? That, ladies and gentlemen, is covered under the concept called product lifecycle management. Let's understand this by a classic car sales example. I'm sure everyone would be aware of BMW, the car company. They manufacture different spec cars, and the most popular one is their BMW 3 Series. In our example, let's travel to 2004, the year when BMW completely redesigned their 3 Series from this to this. Alright, the graph that you see on your screen is called the product lifecycle curve. Let me quickly explain how this works. Now imagine when BMW launched their car in 2004, lots of people would have been hyped about the new BMW 3 Series. With that excitement, most of them would have made their first ever BMW car purchase. As a result, the car sales would have rapidly picked up. And after a few more months, the first batch of car owners who liked the car and were impressed by the performance or the comfort of the car would have left a positive word of mouth, which would help even more people decide buying the new 3 Series. As a result, the sales go up once more. And after a while, BMW would have acquired their target customers, and this would leave saturation in their sales. Again, when few more months passed by, there would be a decrease in sales, as newer customers would no longer be interested in buying the car, because the product got old. Eventually, if the trend continues, the product would die out. By now, you all should have noticed the timeline has 4 phases: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. And this is how most of the product lifecycle works. So to stop the product from dying, companies usually launch a newer version of the same car with lots of upgrades, fixing the problem in the older design, which would then attract new customers to purchase their latest car. and also persuade the current owners of the older generation to upgrade to the latest version, so that the graph once again continues the upward trend. And this is how most of the product-based companies work. They keep releasing product based on the product lifecycle and their R&D capacity. But wait, there's a problem. There's a huge difference in product launch between industries. Usually for the car industry, the product lifecycle is between 5 to 7 years. But when we look into the tech industry, they launch product every single year, like Apple with their iPhone 12, 13, 14, and 15. And the real question is, why does Apple keep releasing a new series of the same device every single year? Is it really necessary for them to keep releasing a new device? Or does the older generation have any problem? What a beautiful weather.
Hey, Loki.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
I'm good.
What are you doing out here?
Nothing much. Just getting tanked.
Times?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So what's up?
I'm good. Just got a new iPhone 15.
Oh,
Yeah.
new iPhone, man. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Can I just see it?
Oh, definitely. Just give me a second.
Oh, wow, bro. The latest iPhone 15.
I know, right?
Sexy, man.
Definitely.
But didn't you have the last year's iPhone 14?
I did.
You did?
So, yeah.
So what's new about this?
I know. Nothing more. Just a number.
And to answer my original question on why Apple is launching a new device every single year, it's simple, guys.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then your talking don't matter. Ching, ching, bling.
And I'm sure they are manipulating this product life cycle with some shady stuff. There are lots of news articles and reports on how Apple wantedly slows down their older iPhones so that people upgrade to the newer ones. Last but not least, why did Apple introduce AirPods? What's the strategy behind it? To keep it simple, it's product diversification. Imagine you're a tightrope walker balancing a basket full of some objects. These objects represent one of the Apple's product like iPhones. But what happens if you stumble? The business is completely reliant on this product. Nobody wants to lose all of their products inside the basket. So to ease out the pressure and create a new stream of income, Apple introduced their AirPods, which would be a bunch of new objects in another basket. So if anything goes wrong, it will not be as impactful as it was before because of this extra backup. The core idea for this video was planted in my head when I first came across this news article of Apple AirPods being a Fortune 500 when I was in uni. Then all of a sudden I'd start noticing people around me use an Apple AirPods. And the next thing I'd notice is like they'd have an iPhone or even an Apple Watch. And that's how I know they're most probably into this Apple ecosystem. And I was just curious as to know like how could Apple do something huge like this with just one product? So the next time when you see someone wearing an AirPods in your office or in a tube or in like a public place, you know a little bit more than what it is. And I hope you guys learned something new today from this video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Watch my 9mm to go